मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवम्. The first 9 stanzas are introduction stanzas. They are for meditation in order to recognize the importance and purpose of Bhagavad Gita. And I also explained how Bhagavad Gita is useful for an individual in practical life. Where does Bhagavad Gita fit in all our scriptures? And what is the goal of our life and how it is revealed in Bhagavad Gita? Okay. So that we saw yesterday. Now we are going to begin the first chapter. So, first stanza, you can open up to page number 61. Page number 61. You can repeat after me. Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha. Shri Paramatmane Namaha. अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः. अथ प्रथमोऽध्यायः. धृतराष्ट्र उवाच धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे. धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेतायुयुत्सवः. समवेतायुयुत्सवः मामका पाण्डवाश्चैव. पाण्डवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत सञ्जय. Sanjay. Now we are beginning Bhagavad Gita, and what is said so far is introduction, and you will find in all our scriptures, this is the beautiful thing. Before the teaching begins, there is something in the form of preparation, groundwork for the teaching. So here also groundwork for the teaching is being done. And what is that? It is connecting Bhagavad Gita with Mahabharata. So Mahabharata story is where Pandavas are there, Kauravas are there, and everything is going on. And now you have to connect them with this episode. So the first chapter actually does this work. Somewhere this connection has to be brought in. In our life also, this situation has to happen. Not in the same way, but in different way. What we call as wake-up call. When I realize what is going on and suddenly there is a shock, and then Bhagavad Gita becomes instrument, or some speaker, some Mahatma, some satsang happens in my life, and there is a trigger, and then I say, I think I need something. So here also there is one person, Arjuna, and he has been living his life, and he has a very good friend called Krishna. Now Arjuna should become student and Krishna should become teacher. As long as they are friends, there is no teaching. It is only friendship. And in our scriptures, we have all kinds of teacher and students with different relationships. Like there is a father and son. Father is the teacher, son is the student. But until the son says, I am a student, father will not start teaching. Unlike modern fathers, they will give other teaching, but they will not give self-knowledge. Like that, there is another student-teacher group or a student-teacher pair where wife is the student and husband is the teacher. In fact, that teaching is the longest. Can you imagine why? Probably because there are a lot of why is this way? Oh, I have another question. So that is longest teaching in Upanishad. Then there is another kind of teaching where son is teaching mother. Mother is the student and son is the teacher. So you have father, son, you have mother, son, you have husband, wife, you have these friends. One becoming guru, another becoming disciple. So for those roles to be taken up, there is some connection. So this first chapter actually serves that purpose. So the first stanza says that everyone had gathered in the war at the battlefield, and now the question is, Dhritarashtra says, O Sanjaya, what did my sons and Pandu's sons, Pandavas, what did they do? And from stanza 1 up to stanza, which I am just going to skip, up to 21st on page 83 is all introduction. I will tell you what it is in very simple words. Up to that is the warriors have gathered on either side. The chief of army, they both are lined up. The whole army is behind them. Then to inspire everyone, Bhishma is blowing a conch. Then on the other side, conch is being blown by Bhagavan Sri Krishna, Arjuna, all the other Pandavas, etc. And all other warriors, they blow their conches. Then they play all the instruments to create that energy. Depending on what is the mood, you need music. If it is wedding, you need wedding music. There you cannot have war music. It will be different. If it is some celebration, joy, a different kind of music. So, depending on the mood, music is played. Once that music here in the form of all the drums, cattle drums, and blowing of big instruments to make sure that all these warriors, they are highly energized. That happens. Now, Arjuna is there in his chariot, which is driven by Bhagavan. But this is all intro. Teaching is not imparted in all this. Now what happens? So, page number 83. Up to this, everything is normal, what we call, everything is fine. Then what happened, that will come later. Arjuna uvacha Senayor madhye Ratham sthapaya mechyuta Yavadetan niriksheham योद्धुकामानवस्थितान् कैर्मया सह योद्धव्यम् अस्मिन् रणसमुद्यमे. So now, first time Arjuna is talking. So up till this point, it was all description, how the horses are all lined up, in which way everything is formed, who all are there, great warriors, etc. Now what has happened? Arjuna tells Bhagavan, you take my chariot and put in the middle of the two armies. Senoyoho ubhayo madhye ratham sthapaya. So put the chariot in between so that I can see with which people, with whom I have to fight. In other words, who are my enemies here? So with all excitement, he says, yes, I am ready. Move the chariot. Let us take charge. And he says, I want to see them because I want to know with whom I am going to fight here. Kairihi maya saha yodhavyam asmin rana samudyame. So it's not that he did not know who are the people that are going to show up, because you know what is the other team, right? Now also if there are two teams playing, like India and West Indies, so they know who all are the people and what talent they have, what kind of records they have set and everything. But this is like to make me also excited and remember what all things they had done so that I can be in full force, whatever that I have to do, full blown Arjuna. So he says, Bhagavan says, okay. So now, when Bhagavan listens to that, what does he do? This is in 24 and 25 on the next page. Sanjaya Uvacha. Page number. Eva mukto Rishikeshah Gudakeshena Bharat Senayorubayor madhye Sthapayitva rathottamam Bhishma Drona Pramukhatah Sarvesham cha mahikshikam Uvacha Partha Pashyaitan Samavetan Kuruniti. So, when Arjuna told Bhagavan that Bhagavan, you take my chariot between the two armies, Bhagavan says, okay. And he took the chariot. But what he did, you see, this is where the whole thing begins. Instead of putting the chariot anywhere, he took the chariot and put it in the front of Bhishma and Drona. Chariot was not put in front of Duryodhana or Karna or Dushasana. It was put in front of Bhishma and Drona. And Bhagavan said, look at all these warriors who have gathered. So here begins the mental condition of Arjuna. The psychological impact begins here. And if you see the teaching is not going to address any aspect of war. Even though the teaching is on the battlefield, it has nothing to do with war. In this teaching, Bhagavan is not going to say, let us move those people because they are giving you trouble. Let us move these army men, one person, not a single such statement. The whole teaching is, you change your mind. Outside, you cannot bring any change. Whatever is possible, you try, but the entire focus should be your mind. You adjust yourself. This is the essential thing. You know, in our life, what is our objective? We feel, why can't people change? Right? Why can't they do this way? Why can't this person get out of my life? Why can't that person get in my life? All sorts of things. Thing is, nothing externally is going to happen which is not in our hand, and majority of things are not in our hand. So the problem is here, and therefore solution will be here. Unlike there was one new recruit in military. So when this fellow was recruited, they had given them 50 rounds, shots. There was like a big board they give, right? And then they say, take this rifle and shoot. So he started shooting. So not a single one was in that board. All 50 went somewhere. So the lieutenant came to him and he said, what are you doing? What kind of shooting practices you have? Not a single one is hitting the target. Not even on the board. Then he asked him, where were you working before? So he said, I used to work for a telephone company. Telephone thing, I don't know how you mess up so much, What were you doing? He said, I used to be in troubleshooting. So he said, you troubleshoot here. What is wrong? So he said, okay. Lieutenant went. Then he tried again, 2-3 shots. All went somewhere. Then he said, let me see where the problem is. So he took the rifle and he put his finger at the nozzle other end. And he hit the trigger. And sure enough, there was a cut right here. The bullet took this part off. So he said, now I know. There is no problem at transmission end. The problem is at receiving end. So in our case also many times we think, the problem is at the other end. Somebody should fix that. Right? There was another boy, he was also doing these kind of practices, dart practices. So he did all his practice shots, and then after 10 minutes his father walked in the room and he saw all the arrows were nicely hit. So the father said, wow, you are so great. How long have you been learning this? So the son said, not long, just a couple of days only I have tried. But you are getting all right there. He said, yeah, what I do is, first I shoot the arrows and then I draw the circles. all the arrows are within the circle. Like sometimes, people make some new dish. So what do? They don't tell what it is. First they make it. Then whatever comes out, then based on that, this is something new, I have tried it. Don't give a name like this one. Anyway, so the problem is not at the receiving end. The problem is right here, and therefore solution has to work here. And what is the problem? How does Bhagavan realize Arjuna's problem? When Arjuna is put in front of Bhishma and Drona, he starts describing what is happening to him. Okay? So, this we will see from page number 90. Arjuna Uvacha Drashtvemam Swajanam Krishna Yuyutsum Samupasthitam Sidanti Mama Gatrani Mukham Cha Parishushyati Vepathushya Sharire Me Roma Harshascha Jayate Gandivam Sransate Hastat Tvakchaiva Paridahyate Nacha Shaknomyavasthatum Brahmativa Cha Me Manaha. Arjuna says, O Krishna, seeing my family members, Drishtva imam swajanam Krishna, Yuyutsum Samupasthitam, those who have gathered here for war, now Arjuna is collapsing. Mama Gatrani Sidanti, he says, my body is becoming weak, they are trembling. Mukham Cha Parishushyati, my mouth is becoming dry, parching. Sharire Vepathuhu Roma Harshascha Jayate. And on my body, like when we have flu or fever, there are these chills that we get. Right? That is what he said I am getting now in the war. Vepathuhu. And the weapons are as though falling from my hand. Gandivam Sansate. Means I am not in control. Even though I am holding on to something, it is falling away. Sometimes people say, I am feeling dizzy. That is also said here. Nacha Shaknomi Avasthatum Brahmativa Cha Me Manaha. Vertigos I am getting. Now, what is all this? The reason is simple. Arjuna never thought that there will be a day when my near and dear ones will not be there and I will be there. That I will have to live my life. War means what? Somebody will die. Right? Either Arjuna said I will die or my near and dear ones will die. Because all are relatives. And others like Duryodhana and Dushasana, if they die, he had no problem. But when he saw Bhishma, Drona, he said, if they will die, I will have to live life without them. This fear he had never handled before. this is what we call scary moment. He was afraid to face life in the absence of his near and dear ones. And generally, this is true. If somebody says, do you want to live long life? You say, yes, I want to live long life. Okay, you live 125 years. Very good. But what does that mean? Others will go and you will keep watching one after the other, everyone is going. And in their absence, people who are so close to you, even if they are gone for a few weeks, or a few days, then you feel, why I am missing them? Only thing is, because we know that they will come back, we have some support that on that basis we can continue, that I will see them again. The moment it registers that I will not see them again, I am afraid. And so the people with whom these kind of close relations we have, their separation we cannot imagine. This was the first blow for Arjuna. So he said, I don't know whether I can imagine that I will be living my life in the absence of Bhishma, other relatives. His own brothers were there, anyone can get killed. Now we may think, okay, what is the relevance of this in my life? Because I am never going for war. But the separation from near and dear ones is true for all. Now we are going to analyze this situation. This is called psychological dependence on others. See, one is physical dependence. And physical dependence is, I need food, clothing, shelter. Right? If somebody says, okay, we will give you food, clothing, shelter, every day, 3 meals you will get. You may not have anyone to talk to. You may not have anyone where you can express your emotions. Will that be okay? So we say, if you don't give me 1 meal, I am fine. But I want somebody who can understand me, who can listen to me, with whom I can have some purposeful conversation. That is why our complaint is, nobody understands me. You ask teenagers. From that age it begins. And then it never ends until we drop the bond. Because we always feel that is the weakest link. And when there are two people, they might be totally strange, unknown to each other, but they say we connected. Connected means that wavelength is there, that whatever they say I understand, and whatever is there in my mind, that person understands. This, if it is there, you may be completely strange, still you can connect. So this emotional dependence is what we all have, and when it is too much, then what will happen in the absence, not even the absence of that other person, the thought of their absence can make me cry, can make me weak. Just the thought. Actually nothing has happened. Like sometimes, in little kids are there, in their dream they see something and there they feel that, my parents are not nearby. As soon as they wake up, they will cry. Until they see, oh, mom is there, dad is there, everything is okay. Now everything is fine. So this emotional dependence is what is being addressed in Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna had fought many wars before. So war was never new to him. Battlefield was never new to him. Killing and death, they were also not new to him. But death of my people is problem. People on whom I am depending, if they go, then I have problem. We all see newspapers, so many people die. Nothing happens to anyone. We say, yeah, what is there? People come and go. When it happens to somebody in our life, then there is tragedy. Same thing about, universities. So somebody says, I applied in these universities, but I didn't get admission there, I ended up here. I am so sad. Then somebody says, oh, what is there? This university is good, you can go study. Business. Oh, this business deal, that business deal I wanted, I didn't get, I ended up with this. So somebody says, what is there? Money is not good. But when it happens to you, then it is first hand and I have to face it. And that time I have to be prepared. So whether it is psychological dependence on presence of a person or some event happening in my life, good or bad, whatever, on which I am so much depending, and if it doesn't happen, I am in shock. I am devastated. And at that time, I don't know how to bounce back. Because I have to live my life. Near and dear ones, even if they are gone, I cannot just sit there and keep crying. If I have made some losses in business or something, I cannot just say, oh, okay, now I'm going to not do anything, change my clothes and become sadhu sannyasi. No, because that is not what you are cut out for. This is what he is saying now. He says suddenly, I don't want to fight, I am ready to go to Himalayas. And I will take bhiksha. Like sadhus are entitled. Warriors are not entitled for bhiksha. So he said, no, I will do that. So what this means is, he is willing to let go of his beauty and he is willing to, bhiksha means taking food, alms, begging alms. So that we can do, because we have taken the vow. In English they say vow of poverty. So we will not earn anything. We will depend on society, we say. Actually we don't depend on society, we depend on God. Society depends on God. There was one great Mahatma. He was sitting under a tree. And somebody said, I want to feed him. So he told his son, and he said, ask that Mahatma to come to our house and we will feed him. So this boy went to him and said, my father says, why don't you come and take food from our house? So he said, yes, I will come and you can offer food, but ask your father, who will feed me tomorrow? Today you will feed me. So he went and he asked his father, Father, this Mahatma said he will come, but he wants to know who will feed him tomorrow. So the father was very learned. He said, you tell that Mahatma, the one who fed you yesterday The one who is feeding you today will feed you tomorrow. So the Mahatma said, yes, this is the right person. Means his attitude is very clear. It is not me who is doing it. The one who has been doing will continue. So anyway, that is called vow of poverty. So bhiksha, you are entitled. But Arjuna, it was not right, because his mind, you see, he came to battlefield with preparation of war. Now he had the fever and he wanted to run away. If he had gone there with the intention that I am going to turn back, then it is different. He didn't go there with that intention. So Bhagavan says, you are not ready. Therefore, you have to let this fear out of you through proper understanding. Because you want this war. Bhishma and Drona you want to save. Not Duryodhana, Dushasana, Karna and all. Then you want to finish them. If you go back from here, sitting there in your room, you are going to think, I missed this chance. And you will come back for the same one. So best is, don't hesitate. Go for it. That is your dharma. So Arjuna is now describing all these things in his mind, and how he is justifying that also we will see. You see, page 93. Nakangshe Vijayam Krishna Vijayam Krishna Nacharadyam Sukhani Cha Rajyam Sukhani Cha Kinno Rajyena Govinda Rajyena Govinda Kim Bhogair Jivitena Va. He says, O Krishna, first of all, I don't see any objective in killing relatives. You say, oh, what justification? Up till now he was ready. Now suddenly he says, I don't see any point in killing relatives. So it is okay to kill others. But relatives, when they are standing, then there is fear. Then, Nakangshe Vijayam, we don't need victory. Oh, what happened? You came here for victory. No, we don't want. Nacha Rajyam, we don't want kingdom. Na Sukhani, we don't want any pleasures. Means all these palace, all the objects, so many things here which are there, we don't want. We have lived in forest, so we will live in forest. You see, sometimes this happens, nervous breakdown, this is called. Or, what do they call that once there is stress level there, so they start crying over some things and then they have to go to a psychiatrist. This is that case. Depression. Now, people think, oh, depression, you call this doctor. Actually what they need is some teaching like this for a real solution. He says, we don't want victory, we don't need kingdom, we don't need pleasures. And what is the purpose of kingdom, bhoga, etc. or even life? Like sometimes when near and dear ones are gone, then somebody says, what is the use of living now? And I am telling you, this does happen. When suddenly all your hopes and dreams and whatever is there, everything is just pulled out. I will give you one example. It's a little extreme example, but it is fact. There is a family, they had one child. And that child got hit by a car and died. Now you imagine mother's situation. She was so much in tears. She said, what will I do now? Why should I live? A 12 or 13-year-old boy. She could not come to terms with how this happened. And she was so much believing in God, and then suddenly you start believing or you start thinking whether there is any such thing called God. Very disturbed. But because of knowledge, Bhagavad Gita and all, she was able to tell herself, convince herself, no, it is karma and you have to continue, and our goal is something greater. If God brings people, God takes them away also. So this thinking, you see, reading them at one place is one thing. When the real life situation hits, to face it on the strength of this knowledge, and as I said, bouncing back means not that nothing will happen. People will have feelings, there will be some tears and everything, but after some time, at least I have to become normal. I have to come to terms with this situation and tell myself, my goal of life is, remember, yesterday I mentioned this, what is the goal of my life? And once the goal is known, that goal is freedom from sorrow for good. So I have to work for that. And that strength Bhagavan is giving me. So anyway, that lady, after teaching, and it so happened that after that incident, within few days I was supposed to go there. So then I talked to her, and slowly then this year I met her. She's much better now. Because you cannot just sit at home and go on crying and grieving. You have to come out of that shock. So like that, situations come in everyone's life. And it is the knowledge which will help. Remember, at that time if somebody says, oh, let's watch some TV program or some show, it is not going to help me come out of this crisis. Or taking some pills, closing my eyes and thinking, no, nothing has happened. It is the understanding. So, Bhagavan is not saying anything right now. He says, you go on talking. This is the other thing, when patient is there, you have patience. Keep listening. And people have all stories, to tell that this happened, that happened. Now what? Now what are we going to do? So first, Bhagavan is just listening. And Arjuna is listening. He says, I will just read next one. Yesham arte kangshitam no rajyam bhoga sukhani cha taime vasthita yudhe pranans tyaktva dhanani cha. People for whom we are ready to give up kingdom, all the objects of pleasures, etc., they all are here, ready to give up their life. What is the use? Because if I am accumulating wealth for somebody, if that person is not there, who will use this wealth? And Bhagavan, even if I get the wealth of all the three worlds, I don't think it is right for me to fight this war. And killing such people, what good we are going to get? Now, there is another point that Arjuna is bringing up. This is from stanza 38. First, I will just tell you what this point is. So, you see, from stanza 1 up to 20, 21 is all the setup. Right? These people are here, those people are there, lined up here, chariots are ready, blowing horns. This is one scene. From 21 to 37, Arjuna talks about his physical condition, his mental condition, his sense organs, his intellect, everything is gone, tossed. Body has become weak, he is not able to stand, his sense organs are not under control, mind is going here and there, he is not able to think. So this is his condition. And he is also talking about there is no point in fighting this war. All these people for whom we are ready to fight and give up our life, they are also here giving up our life, their life. Why should we do this in the first place? Now he says, this is not righteous war. Righteous war means this war is going to create lot of trouble in society. This point, taken stand alone, is correct. But in his condition, it is not correct. Okay, I will repeat this. This point, the third point that he is making, taken stand alone. Stand alone means out of the context of war, in general, whatever he is saying is true. Because some of the family values are brought out here. And those family values, they are the building blocks of anyone's life and the community. So, what is being said now, out of the context of war, it is true. What is that? Let us read stanza 38, 39, page number 100. Yadyapyetena pashyanti lobhopahata chetasaha kulakshayakritam dosham mitradrohe cha patakam katham nagneyamasmadhihi papadasman nivartitum kulakshayakritam dosham prapashyadbhirjanardana. In any society, the success of society depends on the success of family. If the family as a unit is successful, then that society also will be successful. Successful in the sense that the society will be able to function to accomplish its goal. But if that family is not able to live together with the values, then You see, that generation will not notice what is going on. It is the next generation where the impact will be seen. This you can see in Western lifestyle very clearly, where family bonding, family values are not emphasized enough. Importance of doing things together. Doing things together means not watching TV together or just eating together on dining table. That is not doing things together. Doing things together means entire family should be connected with some common goal. Everyone should know that as far as this goal is concerned, we all are together. And that goal is something which is lifting me up, higher goal. So, some idea of this should be there. Arjuna says that in war, what will happen is all men will get killed. Then all women will be left over, children will be left over. Then whatever few men that are there, they will take advantage of these women. Or the enemy camps, they will take away all the women. So this is all true. Remember, in any war, this happens, and otherwise also, if the family bonding is not there, all differences will be there. So the families, or what they call fragmented families. Then what will happen? Kulakshayam, the kula, the dynasty or the families, the traditions, they will start falling apart. So what our ancestors were doing, in the form of practicing certain pujas, certain japas, observing certain festivals, certain vows, slowly next generation says, oh, we are not interested, you do whatever you want. And then slowly later generations are not connected anymore. So Arjuna says, war will bring this. Bhagavan is not going to answer here, but as I said, taken out of this war context, this is true. Therefore, we should know that this is important. Our Guruji says something, Swami Tejavanji says, family, in the Western tradition they say family that eats together stays together. He says the family that prays together stays together. Means that there is some greater bonding. Eating together or sleeping together is not bonding. Something which tells everyone that we have a common goal of our life. So, katham na jnayam asmabhihi papadasman nivartitum. Why don't we stay away from this kind of sin? And this kind of dosha, I am able to see, we are able to see, they are not able to see. Kulakshaya kratam dosham prapashyad virjanardana kulakshaye pranashyanti kuladharmaha sanatana. So when kulakshaya takes place, so when men are not there, or those people who are supposed to continue the values, if they are not there, slowly things will start falling apart. And therefore, somebody in society should make sure that this is continued. I will give you an example. Let us say somebody, you must have told people, right, that, oh, there is this Bhagavad Gita talk, why don't you come? So, let's say somebody tells you, what is the need of this Bhagavad Gita? Life is not going on. Don't you get food? Don't you have clothing? you have your business running, everything is fine. Why you need this teaching? This is useless. Waste of time. Or people who don't have anything, they just keep coming, no need of all these things. Let's say somebody says. So, you say, okay, there is no need of such discourses, right? So you cancel, let us say. You say, let's not have it. Then slowly what will happen, in community, people will not even know that there is some such thing existing called Bhagavad Gita, that there are such discourses available in English language. Because sometimes, people have this feeling, this must be in Sanskrit, so you have to learn a lot of Sanskrit before you can start learning this. So, if the perception goes negative, then what will happen? The demand for such teaching will shrink. And you always know, if there are no customers for anything, that business will shrink. So, if fewer and fewer people are interested in such things, then gradually these things will go down, 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 down. After that, one day Bhagavad Gita will become extinct. Like that, all our values, all our family traditions, all our rites, the rituals that we do, all of them are going through this right now. Because there is no participation, or there is no enthusiasm. People are not able to realize the values for these things. And everyone feels that everyone is busy. With now all these cell phones and everything, everyone somewhere. All these things are good, they have its values, remember, it is important, but family thing will break apart. And therefore, if there is no demand for such things, whether at family level or community level or society level or religious level, somebody has to see that the importance is understood and therefore demand is created so that there is sustained supply. Like, to give another example, these books, right? If not enough people read these books, then what will happen? They will be stopped printing. Printing is there only if there are readers. So I am going to read Harry Potter. Why do I need Bhagavad Gita? So then those books will be printed. Like that, unless this awareness is created, our mind is such that it needs only lower things, It never needs anything greater. So that inspiration is not there. So here, Arjuna says, Bhagwan, all this will happen. And it could have happened. But Arjuna's justification that because this will happen, therefore I will not fight the war, that justification is wrong. But arguments are correct. And you can see in the society, these things. Dharme nashte kulam krishnam, dharmo Bhagavad Gita. Then he says in 41, you can repeat after me, page 103. Adharma vibhavat Krishna, adharma vibhavat Krishna, pradushyanti kulastriyah, strishu dushtasu varshneya, जायते वर्णसंकरः. Varnasankarah. Next one also. Sankaro narakayaiva. Kulagnanam kulasya cha. Patanti pitaro yesham. Lupta pindodaka kriyaha. So, he says, when these killing etc. takes place, then adharma, unrighteousness, will spread like anything. Which is normally the case. If the right thing is not implemented, then wrong things will happen. Adharma abhibhavat Krishna pradushyanti kulastriyaha. And then the women folks will be influenced the most because of this. Because remember, men, they go for work. Right? Whether it is now or those days, warriors, they used to go. So it is the responsibility of women to make sure that everything is set in the house. And if they lose the focus, then Strishu Dushtasu Varshneya Jayate Varnasankara. They will start looking for opportunities in other things. They will think my career is more important than family. Don't take it wrong, okay, if you are a motivated businesswoman or something. But you see the sacrifice. You will say, I am going to let go of these things and I will focus more on my career, my name. Because generally what is the feeling? Homemaker is, what are you doing? So generally people feel, oh, I am doing something means I should have a big title. I am also bringing money at home. Right? And if somebody says, oh, I am a homemaker. So one thing homemaker means he is of no use. Actually it is not true. Because that person is going to bring so much value to the children. So it is very important. And once the women, they lose focus, then who will train the next generation? Because men don't have time anyway. So then, it will be lost. So the traditions are not kept. And that is definitely happening. And then the next, that's what I said. Present generation will not be affected. Next generation will have no clue what is Bhagavad Gita, what is Ramayana, who needs what. And slowly all the family values, rights, etc. will decline. Then what will happen? Arjuna says, 43 and 44, we will read both. Page number 107. Doshairetai kulagnanam Varna sankara karakaihi Utsadyante jati dharmaha Kuladharmascha shashvataha. Next one. Utsanna kuladharmanam Manushyanam janardana Narake niyatam vaso Arjuna says, Bhagavan, whose family values and rights and everything is lost, then such families, they will not go to heaven, they will go to hell. And how long? He says, aniyatam vasa. Aniyatam means for long time they will have to stay there. This is scary. But you all don't have to worry, because you are studying Bhagavad Gita. Thank God. Because Bhagavan is going to say, what is the way out? But this is all description of problem, remember. If the problem is understood, solution also will be clear, it will be appreciated. And then we have to implement it. So he said, Narake aniyatam vasaha bhavati iti anushushuma. For a long time they will stay there. Such people. And therefore, I don't know why we have come here to commit this sin. Maybe because of the greed of greater kingdom. And remember, this is also common in people's mind also. When there is a lot of greed, then they say, compromise on all values. What is the use? So, aho batamahat papam kartum vyavasitavayam yad rajya sukhalobena antum swajanam udyataha yadi mam apratikaram ashastram shastrapanayah dhartarashtraha ranehanyum tanme kshemataram bhavet. So, Arjuna talks about all these kula dharma, etc. And he concludes, with which this chapter concludes, stanza 47 on page 112. He says, Sanjaya uvacha eva muktva arjuna sankhe rathopastha upavishat Visrujya sasharam chapam shoka samvigna manasah. Saying all this, Arjuna, he stopped his talk, he kept his weapons and he said, I am not going to fight. With this, first chapter is over. So today we covered whole chapter, but I gave you the synopsis of what all things are there. The focus here, if you want to remember few ideas from this, one is psychological dependence on external things. The greater this dependence, the weaker will be my mind. To some extent, everyone will have some dependence. But how to gain this mastery? How to minimize these, remember, psychological dependence. Physical dependence you will have, because you will have to live somewhere, you will have to be with somebody. But mentally, I should be resistant to all the situations that happen. I should have more immunity from yesterday's talk if you connect. The internal immunity is what I have to get. This chapter 2 onwards, the teaching is that immunity shot. Bhagavan says you take some virus shots so that you will be immune to problems. And the later part of this first chapter also talked about the ongoing, you see, when mind or intellect loses focus, when it becomes weak, then it will go on blabbering. It will justify every point. Why I should not do this. But it is not out of clear thinking. And this point also we should remember, when I am confused, I should not take any decision. I should ask somebody else. Because in confusion or in great depression, in extreme sorrow, I am not in the right frame of mind. My Viveka Shakti is lost. So at that time, if the person says anything, you just say, yes, yes, we will see. Don't say, yes, let us do that. No, you say, yeah, we will see later. Don't act on that. Because that person is under the spell of the situation at that time. You would have seen, when two people, they are in argument. Let us say something happened and both are angry. And one person says, I hate you. So you don't take it literally, because at that time, what that person is saying, he doesn't mean it. He has no idea what is going on. Viveka is gone. So you say, I hate you. You say, okay, we will see that later. Right now you eat. Mother and daughter or mother and son, something happens. You are so mean. You are this, that. You say, okay, you eat now. We will see tomorrow morning. Tomorrow morning, I am sorry. Over. Because they are not in right frame of mind. So, person who has no viveka, you don't take them seriously at that time. But if they say, I am going to do this, do that, you better see that they are okay, Because their mind is out of control. This is the situation, this is the depression. What happens in depression is explained. Where he is ready to say what is right is wrong and what is wrong is right. You see, he said, if we fight this war, we will go to hell. Because we are going to cause this kind of destruction. Bhagavan is going to say, if you fight this war, you will go to heaven. He says, this war is completely unjustified. Bhagavan is going to say, this war is completely justified. So, this shows Viveka is not there. So, sometimes, you should remember these things, because these are family situations. When husband and wife say, you walk out, I am walking out, let us do the divorce and all. So you ask some wise person, that person say, it is best for you to stay together. No separation. And at that time, both parties will feel, I cannot live here. So, because at that time you are not thinking clearly, that's all. Earlier the whole thing was wonderful for you. Now what happened? For Arjuna, the entire war was wonderful. Remember, he came to the battlefield with all preparation. He didn't come there to run away. But that mind suddenly became weak. Right? So this happens in families. Like the day of the wedding, that day is so different. And the real life, quote unquote. So ups and downs should be there. Whether it is real family life or real business world. Real world will have challenges. It is not going to be like what we see in movies. Right? So we have to be prepared. So Bhagavad Gita says, where do you have to spend enough time, energy for preparation? You can prepare everything outside and feel I have taken care of everything, or prepare yourself inside. So the biggest bang for your buck you will get when you prepare inside. Outside preparation is required, which the war will show, but at this moment, inside prep is needed. So from tomorrow, now we will start second chapter, okay, where for few stanzas, remember one more point is remaining. Arjuna, the friend, has not become student yet. When he says, I am student, then only Bhagavan will start teaching. Until then he is good. This is what is needed. Because without this, he never thought he should become student. He thought, I already know everything. Like how we all are, we feel, I know everything. You need to learn. Okay, so tomorrow we will begin with second chapter. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari